we have been talking about is love enough, is love not enough? But we have our guest in the studio to dissect and let us know which is which. We have Olabisi Olashoitan. She is a marriage counselor and a coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. So, ladies, we're talking about is love enough? And thankfully, we have a guest now.
Okay. And she's married.
Yes.
So she has experience.
We are going to throw the question to you. Is love enough? What do you think?
Well, I was listening on the conversation while I was in the waiting room, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
That question has many people confused, especially in this season of Valentine. You know, everybody wants, is the discussion going on, is love enough? But I think the question would be, what is love?
Sure.
What do we define as love? So if we can identify that, then we would know if it would be enough. So when you ask, is love enough? Enough for what? Is it enough to be attracted to somebody? Is it enough to sustain a relationship? Is it enough to sustain a marriage? Is it enough, to keep you during hard times? So that would be the question. So once we are able to define what love is, and what is love? Love can be complex, so it's many things, happening all at once. It's a feeling of attraction, it's attraction, romance, respect, warmth, commitment, all put together into one thing. So the definition is really difficult to pin, but we know what it is. We may not be able to put it in a long list, but we know what it is. So now, all these things, can you have it at once in a person, personified in a person? Yes. But many times when people say I love you, they don't have all the components together. So when they say love is not then enough, it sounds as if they're right. But if you evaluate, you find that it's not exactly true. Love in the real sense of the word is actually enough. Because if you look at what it is, it has respect, commitment, a feeling of affection, even rush of emotions sometimes. You look at somebody and, you just recall some things about them and you feel all sort of jittery inside. Sometimes you look at what they've done for you and a sudden sense of respect comes over you, like, I honor you, I respect this person because you remember them and what they stand for. So all of this put together is love. But if you're focusing on just affection, how they make you feel good at the moment, then the question will be, are you in love yet? So before, and I heard you guys say that, what about if, there's no money or our values don't align and all that stuff? What then happens? I can leave the person. The question is, you did not wait to truly get to the point where you can say you're in love with this person. Because before you can say you're in love with somebody, your values must align. So if you get somewhere along the way and you suddenly realize that your values don't align, then you will go back to that love and question it and find out why you fell in love. If you're able to then come to a conclusion whereby you know that yes, this person I love based on a decision you make. So love is a decision, a choice to say, I invest in you. I've made the decision. I've looked at you. You look like what I love. You fit I respect you. I honor you. I commit to you. I want to commit to you. So I make a decision to love you. So when things are a bit shaky, you will go back to that decision based on what you see. So in the real sense, love is enough.
Okay.
Yes.
Like you have something to
Let's talk about divorces, right? You're saying love is a decision to want to stay with this person regardless. So you got into a relationship with this person, you guys got married, 1 year down the line, 2 years, 3 years, and then the person becomes abusive, the person starts hitting you and all. Would you still want to love that person? That's one.
Okay.
Secondly, maybe something happens along the line, you become the successful person, the breadwinner of the home, and the person becomes uncomfortable and tries to talk you down, play you down, and all.
Emotional abuse.
Exactly. So what do you do? Because it doesn't make sense that love is enough.
How do you keep loving?
How do you keep it? How do you sustain it?
Now, this is a question for the person. Usually, when people marry somebody, you will not be able to tell what they can do or not.
Definitely.
But based on the signs you see, you can predict. So what people do is that when they get into the relationship, they allow these feelings of affection cloud many things that they could have judged rightly. So if somebody is abusive, in fact, even before somebody will abuse you, they have to devalue you. So there are many signs that you would have seen that you shouldn't get in the relationship with that person. Because again, if you must love somebody, you must love yourself enough to pair yourself with them. So if you must respect somebody, you must respect yourself enough to even give it to somebody. So if you're in a relationship with somebody, which is why they always say that make sure you look well before you leap. Make sure you get to know the person very well. And then they're worthy of the decision that you make to love them. Because when you do say you love somebody, you must stand by that word. You must stand by that decision and see everything that there is to do. Now again, in a relationship, nothing really stands alone. So we look at a couple and they're divorced and we say, oh, it didn't work out. There are many things that did not work out. It's not just their love. There are many things. Sometimes it's somebody's stubbornness. Sometimes it's somebody's refusal to get help. Because, of course, they don't love their partner. So the person that is abusive did not surrender to love. The person that is being disrespectful did not surrender to love. So, of course, usually you put the person in a place where they're left with nothing more to do. Because one person is refusing to surrender to love. But love in the sense of it, if love is present in a place, it doesn't just affect your behavior. It directs mine as well. So before you react to what I'm doing to you, I think about it with the lens of love. I look at it with the lens of what would love do? How would love treat this person that I claim to love? Because guess what? The man that is abusing you or the woman that is abusing you also says they love you. So you see, it's not one-sided and it's not usually one thing. You know, there's many things that we can say, oh, would have happened, so many things that has fallen apart, even friendship. Do you understand? So somebody is not committing to that love. Somebody is not surrendering. And of course, if you have tried, so many people try to stand by their commitment, stand by their decision to love this person who doesn't even love them back. But, you know, what do you get when the person now insists that, you know what, you must get out of their life or by deciding to kill you? Because if somebody is trying to kill you, they are telling you to get out of their life.
True.
You know, so that way, it's not because you have stopped loving. You did not leave because you stopped loving them. You left because they told you to.
Okay.
Now, talking about that, I want to shake tables a bit.
Actually, I have a question too.
Yeah, we had a conversation about a week ago.
Yes.
And I was asking, loving who you marry and marrying who you love, which makes sense? Love who you marry or marry who you love?
No, you have to do both. You have to marry somebody you love. But once you marry them, you now have to commit to loving the person you married. That's what usually happens. So we can't really say, people will not listen anyway if you tell them to marry somebody and they love the person. People will not listen because we are human beings. We get emotions. I look at you and I get flustered. You know, you bring butterflies with your presence. So people would definitely still continue to choose to marry somebody who they are affectionate towards, somebody who makes them feel good. So sometimes when people say, I love you, what they are saying, what they should say is, I love myself. I love how you make me feel. So sometimes they're not even sure they're in love yet.
All right, sorry to cut you short, but we have a comment from Stephen O. Simeon on Facebook, and he is saying that love is enough from the biblical perspective.
Absolutely.
But from our present day
I have a
life,
question.
without understanding and trust, that relationship will not stand the test of time. And that is what Simeon is saying.
Okay.
If you look at the biblical perspective, I mean, everything that love is, it seems to be enough. But of course, there are not many people who want to they consider it tough. They consider it hard. But if you look at it, if you're a Christian, for instance, and you surrender to that perspective and say, okay, this is what, you'll find that husband and wife at a time, the two of them, if one person surrenders to that love, you'll find that they'll be able to temper issues and get along better.
Sure, you've been eating.
Yes. I have like a
Go
ton
right
of
ahead.
questions to ask. Okay,
Right.
first, we're talking about love. And we're talking about trust. We're talking about you building it, because all those things that you've talked about, it's like a lifetime growth, something that over time you amass them. Now, let's talk about trust. And let's talk about the patience, you deciding. You said something about domestic abuse. That one is a very interesting part that I would like to get into. Now, you said the person, that means when a person starts to abuse you, that means the person is telling you to get out of your life. But you talked about you deciding to stick with that person. So does that mean you've stopped loving the person? Does that mean you fell out of love? Because if you say you decide, I loved you, I saw the fact that, okay, you might sometimes have outbursts. I see that sometimes you might be very overworked over something that seems so infinitesimal. And I know that, okay, because I love you, because I've seen some things, because either you like it or not.
Let's hold that thought. We have Wumi from Lekki on the line. Wumi from Lekki. Hi, Wumi.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Hello.
Oh, my name is Jimmy. Jimmy from Lekki. I'm a guy,
Hello.
not a girl.
Okay,
please
we
go
have to
ahead.
get back to that.
Yes.
Okay, so does that mean when you choose a person, because either you like it or not, sometimes you anchor these emotions, because you've rightly defined that there are sometimes in fact, the romance, the pleasure, the lovely feelings are associated with love. So there are some qualities that you anchor those things. You see that person and say, okay, I like the fact that our face is so this and all that. So sometimes when those things are no longer in place, and that person is now giving you more reasons why you should get out of the love, does that mean you actually stop
That's why
loving?
in the first place, those feelings are not everything that love is. I can't just
Part of
anchor
it.
my love on what somebody looks like.
No, I said a part of it.
So what about the other parts? What happened to them?
Okay, maybe I should rephrase my question in a very short way. In a typical case of domestic abuse, the person said, get out of my life. But I said, I love you. So what should the person do?
Before we get to what have I offered to do? Help the person, get help for them. If they are not willing to get help, then they're asking me to constantly leave. So what do? I leave.
Do you
To
stop
save
loving?
myself. Now the question is, when you gather, and I would like you to put this to test when you get out of here. Find somebody who was abused, and you will find that one of the issues they had or still have is that they still love that person. They still actually think that they love the person, but just because it wasn't working out, they left. And some of them are somewhere waiting, hoping that eventually that
Person
hand of
changes.
help that they've extended, the person will take
Let us
it.
hold it there. We apologize to Jimmy, who
Yes.
has been trying to call. Keep trying to call. The line is jamming now,
Yes.
but you can still try to call, and then we can have your contribution or your question. Please
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah.
So you see, they're still hoping that the hand of help that they're still willing, somewhere in their mind, they're hoping that even if for themselves, I mean the abuser now, they would take the help. Because you see, sometimes, and this is where many people miss it, we are talking about domestic abuse. That's even like an extreme case. There are many reasons people divorce that has nothing to do with infidelity or domestic abuse. Are you aware?
Yeah, sure.
People divorce for simple reasons, things that people get married and in 2 months, they don't even know who they're married to.
Yes.
And it's not because they're even being abused. Sometimes it's because even the person you are married to is still trying to get the balance of what the whole thing is like. And they're being themselves that they presented to you or not. But you yourself are being yourself. And that together, it may be from a place of lack of understanding. Understanding what it takes to build a marriage. So we fight over small things like toothpaste, like who sweeps the house, who cleans, whose work it is to cook.
Okay.
Now, a man that is coming from a place where in his mind he thinks, oh, it's the woman's job. The woman thinks, oh, it's not my job. So they are pitched against each other. Now, does this mean that it's doomed for the marriage? Can it be worked out? Can they go to counseling? Even if they don't go to counseling, are there ways through effective communication that the woman can explain her plight? So again, you find that it's not really that people are stuck on their ideas. Again, it's because we don't even know how to put our ideas forward.
Okay, sorry, please. Okay, after going all through this process of love, when does divorce become an option?
Then you know we are no longer talking about love. Because people divorce who they love.
Yes.
People divorce who they've committed to love. The question is, do we know what love it's not about the divorce. It's about the many breaks in the relationship that could have been avoided. It's about the many steps they've taken that they could have not taken based on that love that we're talking about. So I hear you when you're trying to say love is not enough, but I'm telling you that people don't actually follow the principles that is guided by the love they claim to have for each other. That's why they get to that point. So of course, I'm not going to tell anybody at what point is divorce acceptable. What is acceptable for you may not be acceptable for me. So people divorce at any point they feel like it. Once they get married, even for vision, for things like alignment of purpose, for things like, oh, he doesn't support me in love. And in love, there's also unconditional acceptance. So you must accept the person that you have married. You must be able to see them. So my husband says something to me. I have to be able to put it in perspective. What's his background? Why is he speaking like that? Before even taking an offense. Sometimes what the things they do to you is not necessarily a personal attack on you. It's based on their mindset, their worldview, where they've come from. So sometimes, if I now take it as a personal attack, some things that I'm supposed to overlook and be like, okay, well, he'll learn it as it goes on. Life will teach him. His friends can talk to him. He can be watching a program on TV like this, and somebody will change their opinion of love based on watching this. Meanwhile, as a wife, I will be making it my duty to teach him. It's not my duty. There's many things that can teach him. So things that I should have overlooked, I will focus on that.
Okay.
We have a call. Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
Please reduce the volume of your TV set.
Okay. We can hear you. We can hear you now.
Hello, Jimmy.
Hello?
We lost the call.
We lost the call.
Sadly.
Please try to call us back. Thank you.
Okay.
I think we're wanting to ask a question, yes?
No.
Okay,
so
good.
I want to talk about-
You've been quiet, which is very suspicious.
I am observing trying to get my
Because you
point.
understand that she's saying all the
This
No,
is
no,
not a
I'm not on your
debate. There is no side.
No, when I say side, I mean we're of the same opinion when it comes to if love is enough or not.
Okay.
But I'm curious. I want to know if you say love is enough, and your spouse, probably the husband or the wife, now have extramarital affairs. You know what do you think? Will you still stay and say, okay, I love you, and you still accept the extra order?
Now, again, what we must not fail to realize is that apart from, there are many things that, inform people's decision whether to stay or leave. There's also the religious background. And if we put that into view, there's, forgiveness in love. There are many marriages that have come out of infidelity and are stronger for it. There's some that have not come out of it. There's some where the person is just a, perpetual cheat and they can't help themselves. There are addictions involved, So there's many things that would inform whether I want to leave, whether I want to forgive. Is the person remorseful? Are they willing to go to counseling? Are they willing to speak about the issue? I mean, if you're able to get all this. But the thing is, you as the person who loves, when you're hit in the face with that hurt, what do you do? Are you even willing to extend the help that is available? If they say they're going to counseling, will you listen or you're out enough? And if you say, you know what, one time is a deal breaker for me, I mean, no judgments.
Just a short...
We could go on and on this topic, but then we would have to bring you back on the show.
You can join us tomorrow for another exciting episode of Tea or Coffee.